He was a man you'd pass in the grocery store and never think of again, until the day the police dug up his garden. In the quiet, tree-lined streets of Oakwood Falls, Michael Harlow was the picture of suburban success. A financial advisor in his late 40s, he was known for his crisp polo shirts, his reliably well-manicured lawn, and his unwavering presence at his daughter's weekend soccer games. His wife, Sarah, a warm-faced woman with a gentle smile, was a pillar of the local library committee. Together, they presented a portrait of comfortable normalcy, a life built on PTA meetings, summer barbecues, and a quiet, shared history. But every portrait has a frame, and behind Michael Harlow's, a darkness was festering, waiting for a single crack to split the facade wide open. That crack appeared on a rain-swept Tuesday in October when Sarah Harlow failed to pick up their 12-year-old daughter, Chloe, from school. It was unthinkable. Sarah was relentlessly punctual, her life a meticulously organized calendar of responsibilities. Calls to her phone went straight to voicemail. Frantic, the school secretary finally reached Michael at his office. He sounded calm, concerned, but not overly alarmed. She probably just forgot her phone was dead, he assured them, a theory that, to anyone who knew Sarah, was utterly absurd. He collected Chloe, and by nightfall, with Sarah still missing, he reluctantly filed a police report. The investigation began with the usual suspects: a random accident, a medical emergency, a voluntary disappearance. But Sarah Harlow had no history of depression, no secret debts, no reason to run. Her passport was at home, her car in the driveway, her purse containing her wallet and keys left neatly on the kitchen counter. It was as if she had simply vanished into the thin air of her own home. Detective Inspector Eva Rostova, a woman with a weary gaze that missed little, found Michael's demeanor unsettling. He was cooperative, but his grief felt rehearsed. He spoke of Sarah in the past tense too quickly, and his eyes, when he thought no one was looking, scanned the faces of the officers not with anguish, but with a cold, calculating assessment. Then the first thread unraveled. A neighbor, walking her dog late on the night Sarah vanished, mentioned seeing a man in a hoodie carrying a large, heavy-looking rolled-up carpet from the Harlow garage towards a rental van. She'd thought it was odd for a moving job so late, but had dismissed it. When pressed, she couldn't identify the man, but she did remember a partial license plate. The van was traced to a rental agency, and the credit card used to secure it was a prepaid, untraceable card. However, the security camera at the agency told a different story. The man who rented the van was Michael Harlow, wearing a baseball cap and glasses, paying in cash for the card he'd used to book it online. The premeditation was staggering. The police descended on the Harlow property with a new, grim focus. Forensics teams scoured the garage and found what meticulous cleaning had missed: a tiny, almost invisible speck of blood on a concrete join, confirmed to be Sarah's. The case shifted from a missing persons to a homicide investigation, and Michael Harlow was the sole suspect. But without a body, the case was circumstantial. He was arrested, yet he maintained a stoic silence, his lawyer painting him as a grieving husband being persecuted by a desperate police force. The community was divided. How could the quiet man who always waved hello be a cold-blooded killer? The trial was a media circus. The prosecution presented a compelling narrative of a man leading a double life. They revealed secret bank accounts, evidence of embezzlement from his own firm, and a mistress in a city 2 hours away. A life of financial and personal duplicity that Sarah, it seemed, was on the verge of discovering. The motive was clear. But the clincher, the evidence that would seal his fate, remained elusive. The jury listened, but without a body, without a murder weapon. A shadow of reasonable doubt lingered. Then came the testimony that would change everything. The prosecution called a reluctant witness to the stand: Michael's own daughter, Chloe. The courtroom fell into a hushed, painful silence as the young girl, clutching a worn teddy bear, was sworn in. She spoke softly, her voice barely a whisper. She told the court about the night her mother disappeared. She'd been woken by raised voices, her parents arguing, something that had become frighteningly common. She described hearing a loud thump, then silence. Scared, she had crept to the top of the stairs and peeked through the banisters. She saw her father, dragging something heavy and wrapped in a blue tarp across the living room floor. "I thought he was taking out the trash," she whispered, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek. The air was sucked from the room. This was the human element, the eyewitness account that transformed theory into horrifying reality. But Michael Harlow, from the defense table, showed no emotion. He simply stared at his daughter, his expression unreadable. The defense attorney rose for cross-examination, his voice gentle but probing. "Chloe," he began, "you've been through so much. It's understandable that your dreams and your memories might get mixed up. That blue tarp, the police searched your house from top to bottom. They never found a blue tarp, did they?" Chloe's lower lip trembled. She shook her head. The defense had successfully planted a seed. Could a traumatized child's memory be trusted? The momentum of the trial stalled. It was a masterful move, and for a moment it seemed Michael Harlow might walk free. But Detective Rostova had one final card to play. She requested a follow-up interview with Chloe, not about the tarp, but about her father's habits. She asked the girl about her dad's gardening, a hobby Michael was famously passionate about. Chloe, brightening slightly, talked about how he loved his rose bushes, the ones by the back fence. "He said they needed special food to make them so red," she said innocently. Rostova's blood ran cold. The rose bushes. They were the one part of the property that hadn't been disturbed, their vibrant blood-red blooms a macabre centerpiece to the backyard. She immediately secured a new search warrant. The climax of the trial came not with a witness, but with a forensic botanist. He testified that soil samples taken from the roots of Michael Harlow's prized roses contained traces of a unique chemical compound, a compound found only in the specific brand of blue polyethylene tarp that had been sold at a local hardware store, a store whose security footage, when subpoenaed, showed Michael Harlow making a purchase 2 weeks before his wife's disappearance. Chloe's memory wasn't confused. Her father had simply buried the evidence along with his wife right under their noses. The jury looked at Michael Harlow, the man who had planted a garden over his crime, and saw not a father, but a monster. The verdict was guilty. As he was led away, his mask finally slipped, his face contorting into a snarl of pure hatred, a glimpse of the man Sarah Harlow must have seen in her final moments. He never revealed where he disposed of her body, leaving her family with a grief forever compounded by a cruel, unanswered question. The most terrifying monsters are not the ones that hide in the shadows, but the ones who smile at you from across the street, their secrets buried just beneath the surface of a perfectly normal life. If stories like this keep you hooked, hit subscribe for more.